What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm going to give a pre-forecast before the presidential debate that is going to be tonight at 9 o'clock p.m. Right now, if we look at the 538 podcast, we can see that Biden definitely is the favorite here. Trump is definitely an underdog, and Trump's chances right now are actually a little bit below his chances that he had in 2016. And if we look by state, we actually see that North Carolina and Ohio have flipped to Biden's column now, which I think is pretty interesting. I personally still think that Ohio and North Carolina are going to go towards Trump, but we can see that there have been several polls out of Ohio that do have Biden up, and definitely we shouldn't ignore those. So just going into the first debate, I think this might be kind of the biggest inflection point in the presidential race. I think this is going to be the most tuned into debate ever in presidential history. I think more people are inside, but because of the coronavirus lockdowns, and I think that people have seen less of this campaign. There have been fewer rallies. A lot of this campaign has been online. We haven't seen kind of like the daily rally schedule like we did in 2016 when the campaign news was saturating the news coverage. It's been I would say that the news coverage has more been focused on kind of COVID, its impact on the economy and some of the more social justice issues, and also kind of the rebound of sports, whether that's college football or the NBA. So here are the six topics that Chris Wallace, who's a veteran journalist, I expect him to do well. Out of the three debates between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, Chris Wallace was the third moderator there, and I think most people said that he did the best. Obviously, it's very, very hard, I think, to try to be kind of a fair and unbiased moderator. We've had many instances in presidential debate history where people have accused moderators of being biased, and it really can affect a race. I remember in 2012, the Mitt Romney campaign was accusing the moderator who worked for CNN, who I don't think works there anymore, but was accusing her of bias in Obama's favor, and that they really thought that tilted the election. But I think Chris Wallace. I think maybe some people on the left might accuse him of being biased towards Trump. But I think we can see with his coverage that he really is pretty hard on Trump most of the time. So I think he was definitely a good choice as the first moderator there, and he will kind of set the tone of the presidential debates. We're going to have the vice presidential debate next, and then two more presidential debates. But Chris Wallace came out with these six topics, so I kind of want to go one by one and kind of go into them each and see which candidate might have an advantage there. So looking at it overall, I frankly think that this list probably helps Trump. Just kind of if we kind of look at a macro view of it, I think that Trump is going to like talking about these topics rather than maybe some other topics that aren't in the list. For example, healthcare. I think that Democrats, that's more of a democratic issue, one that I think would probably go in their favor because the Democrats are all for like more expanded healthcare access, while the Republicans are kind of pushing back against that, but really haven't come up with like a concrete unified plan. And also, I was thinking with like climate change and stuff. I think that that is a big topic that I think that would help Biden. And there's some others here that were left out. I think if we talk about the second amendment, that's probably an issue that would help Trump. But there's lots of ways to slice and dice this. So Trump and Biden's record. I think this could go either way. I think Biden's going to focus a lot on Trump's record in the past 6 months with his handling of the coronavirus, and then he also might kind of go back to the Charlottesville incident in 2017 and kind of said, look, Trump is trying to instigate violence, and we can see this kind of with the social unrest in the cities right now. I think Trump is going to be pretty disciplined on his message here that Biden has had 45 years in public office, and he hasn't solved these problems in the first 45 years. So why do you think he's going to solve it now? In 4 years, we've already given him a chance. He's part of the swamp. So I think that this one could go either way. I think whoever is better at presenting it probably will have the upper hand here. With the Supreme Court, this has been historically an issue that helps the Republicans. Um, I think that in 2020, it actually could give more energy towards Biden because I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg was kind of an icon among the progressive left. So I think they might be more riled up in replacing her. However, Trump appointing Amy Barrett Cohen might actually go a long way in kind of cementing his conservative base. So I think in theory, this probably helps Trump. But again, he's going to have to answer the questions of why did they leave the seat open in 2016, but they're going to fill it in 2020. With COVID-19, I see I see this as an issue that's unequivocally going to help Biden because I think that a lot of people are going to blame Trump for his response to the coronavirus. I don't think this is something that Trump wants to talk about, but I was reading somewhere that this would actually be a great time for maybe Trump to announce something like a vaccine or something kind of a bombshell here to kind of deflect the attention away from maybe his handling of the coronavirus. So I think both camps are kind of going each topic by topic and saying these are my talking points here. This is how I'm going to surprise everyone, so they're not very predictable on those. With the economy, I think this is definitely an issue that helps Trump. If you kind of look at the polls between Trump and Biden, Biden is kind of up on everything, like whether you think he's going to help handle race issues, whether you think he's better for the environment. But Trump is always consistently up with the economy, and I think this is going to be his main selling point. He's just going to like go in on the fact that like the stock market's been going up high, wages were going up, the unemployment levels were going down, and COVID was just kind of this freak thing that messed it up. But who do you trust to make the economy go again? Do you trust Biden or do you trust Trump? And Trump's going to say, look, I did this again. I think Biden's going to talk about his record in 2009. But I think this is one issue where definitely Trump has the upper hand. Next up, going to race and violence in our cities. I think this might be one of the most important parts of the debate because I think it's going to be very, very important for each candidate to kind of talk about this in the right way. I think we might see the most like post debate coverage of this because I think this is one of the topics that I saw trending on Twitter right when Chris Wallace released this list. So I definitely see this kind of being kind of the hot button topic of the debate. And I think gaffes on either side would probably happen here. Like if Trump says that systemic racism doesn't exist or that there's racism against white people, I think that's going to be saturated on the news coverage. Or if Biden has some gaffe where he maybe doesn't condemn the violence in the cities, I'm sure that's going to get a lot of news coverage and be a lot of material for attack ads from the Trump campaign. So on this issue, I think kind of just in terms of race, people trust Biden better and kind of like wounding our racial wounds. However, I think Trump, we've seen this help Trump when there's a lot of violence and social unrest in the cities. We see that Trump's taking a firm stance against that with his law and order message, while Biden has kind of been more inclined to sit on the sidelines and not really talk about it because I think that a lot of his voting base might be kind of in support of these protests. So I think that Trump can maybe use this to his advantage more than Biden because I think it's just kind of been saturated in the news, kind of Black Lives Matter. So if Trump can be very nuanced and kind of careful in the way he talks, instead of just kind of just like speaking off the top of his mind, I can see this as being an issue that can help Trump. With the integrity of the election, um, I could see this going either way. I think most people don't really trust vote by mail. I think that's why most people are voting in person. So if Trump just kind of focuses on that piece, then I think that people will agree with him. However, if Trump kind of goes into this long spiel about how he's not going to be down for the peaceful transition of power, and how he is not going to give up if he doesn't think the election is fair. I think this is rhetoric that people on both sides of the political aisle don't like. So I think Trump could definitely dig himself in a hole with here. However, we've already seen kind of on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton has told Biden not to give up, not to concede the election under any circumstances, even if it looks like that Trump is going to win. So I think that is very interesting too. Kind of just going over some more broader things. We've seen in the past that the debates haven't mattered as much, but we can see that the first debate definitely has the biggest impact. Mitt Romney definitely kind of gained there, I would say, but I think Barack Obama gained a lot in 2008. We've seen in the past that the challenger definitely has an advantage here. I think that one thing that people are going to be talking about, um, I think that the expectations for Biden are low, and so and we saw this in the Democratic primary debates that when people really were expecting Biden to do very poorly, but when he honestly didn't do that badly, his like poll numbers really didn't get affected that much. Biden is definitely up right now. We can kind of see this if we look at the polls or the different models. So I think Trump definitely has um, the bigger chance to kind of maybe shrink that lead. So Biden definitely has more to lose, and I think the spotlight is going to be on Biden to see if he can stand up next to Trump and be tough and take those tough questions. So definitely, I'd probably be more scared if I were in the Biden campaign, but still, Biden has a pretty consistent lead here. So if he can hang on like he did in the Democratic primary debates, then I think he should be smooth, going pretty smoothly. We can see so like each segment's going to last 15 minutes, and Biden asked for kind of a 30-minute break between each one. I think that's definitely not going to happen. Trump's been talking about all this business about a drug test. That's definitely not going to happen. I think that's a little bit of a distraction. And even I saw that people were talking about Biden maybe using an earpiece, but I bet they're going to check that, and because Biden would just get hammered if that uh, happen. And I think there's going to be kind of a large factor if we really aren't going to know what happened. I'm really interested to see. I'm going to be doing a live stream before and after, so definitely tune into that. Subscribe right here if you haven't, and also follow my Twitter account. I just made a Twitter, so definitely follow that. The debate's going to be pretty soon, so definitely tune into that and my coverage of it before and after. Thanks, guys.